Hello and welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to be looking at the new Injora 480 Micro Servo, fitting it into our Losi Micro B and seeing how it performs. So Injora released this servo only a few weeks ago and I have to admit I was eyeing it up myself. Then all of a sudden I had an email in my inbox from the guys at Injora asking would I like to review it on the channel, and of course I said yes. So now we have it in our hands, let's take a closer look. So taking a quick look at the servo, it all looks very nice. We have an aluminium case with all the graphics here etched onto the front. So along with the servo, you also get this nice aluminium servo saver. And I have to admit, I do like to run the servo savers in my buggies. All too often you seem to buy a servo and it only comes with a straight standard horn and you can't find a servo saver to fit. So Injora including this in the servo package is a real bonus for me. Now there aren't any weights given on the website, however popping the servo onto the scales we can see this servo comes in at 9.95 grams, comparing that to a stock servo that weighs just only over 5. There is obviously a significant weight difference. Whether that will pay in performance terms we will just have to wait and see. Now as it comes, the servo has a standard size servo plug, so if you are fitting it to your Losi Micro B or T, it will fit straight in. You could also go down the direct soldering route and solder it directly to the board, however be warned it is quite fiddly. If you are fitting it to a WL Toys 244016, you are going to need either a servo adapter or again solder it directly to the board as the plug will not fit. That's enough talking, let's get this servo fitted up. Now the servo went in without any issues. Time to chop this servo plug off, solder it directly to the board for a nice clean install. Okay, so now with the servo all finished up, let's do a little comparison with a second stock car and just see how it compares on the four corner scales and see how that extra weight has affected the balance of the car. The baseline with our stock car, let's pop it on the scales and see what it looks like. Okay, and now swapping over to the new car with the Injora servo, let's take a look at that. So as expected, that weight bias has pushed forwards in the car, approximately 3 grams extra over those front wheels. While it doesn't sound a huge amount, potentially it is something that will make a difference on the track. Whether that will mean it pushes wider in the corners or perhaps even gives a little extra grip, we will just have to wait and see. Now while doing this review, it really got me thinking as to all of the details that we could look into. So I made up a little rig here to look at the maximum angle that we could get from these servos. So with the stock servo here and each line representing 5 degrees, if you add them up, it is telling us that we're getting 50 degrees in both directions. It also gives a chance to look at the centering and to make sure that the servo is centering nice and fast in either direction. And now moving over to the Injora servo, we can see we are getting just about the same amount of travel, and again the centering is nice and accurate. Okay, so now with the two servos side by side, let's take a look at them in action. I did take a look on the internet for the details for the stock servo, and from what I could find, it was only AI generated information, was that the Injora servo is claiming to be a lot faster. So it'll be interesting just to see if that is the case. Here we go. This is the stock servo and a little slower. Now I haven't set the endpoints of these, so we are maxing out our travel. And then moving over to the new Injora servo, and well, it does feel a lot smoother. And again, we are maxing out the travel, so that is all good. We can turn that back as we need to. Speed wise, well, I'm a little unsure on that. It's going to be very hard to actually tell, but I certainly wouldn't say it's a whole lot faster. But there you go. That is a quick little look at how they perform on the bench. Let's now take them to the track and see how they fare. Okay, so back home from racing, where we went back to back with the two cars in some blind testing, and well, what are my thoughts? I have to say there wasn't a huge amount of difference there. The car, I felt, with the Injora Servo did want to push a little wider in the corners with that extra weight up front. However, the Servo did feel incredibly smooth. Now, as far as the speed of the Servo goes, well, I'm not sure I could really notice the difference. That said, the Servo does look rather good sitting there in the car. Now, what are my final thoughts on the new Injora 480 Servo for the Losi Micro B? Is it an upgrade over stock? Well, yes, I think it is, but perhaps not quite as much as I'd originally hoped. Would I buy one myself? Again, I think I would. But really, I would like to see it a little lighter and a little faster. However, it was really nice that they did include that aluminium servo saver with the servo. Now, with all that said, it is great to see companies developing products like this for this car, and hopefully in time we will see some of those improvements implemented, and also perhaps other companies joining in and developing similar products. So let me know what your thoughts are on the servo. Do you think it was really worth it? And are there any other servos that we should try and review in the quest to build the ultimate Micro B? So thank you for watching, and thank you to Injora for sending me the servo to review. Don't forget, in the meantime, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Each one really does count, and hopefully it will mean that we can do more reviews like this in the future. But otherwise, have fun wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one.